Ladies and gentlemen, in this video, I'm super excited to share with you an over-the-board blitz game that I played against none other than Borna Sivanandan, who is one of the rising stars of chess here in England. And I do say here because I am currently in my hotel room in London. This game was played after the Speed Chess Championship concluded. Magnus Carlsen, Alireza Firouzja played in an amazing final. And Magnus Carlsen is actually in this video. He watched this game, commentated, and mentioned another game, which I will get into all of that. Anyway, enjoy the footage from the Diamond Lounge, and after all of this, I will tell you the really crazy and slightly embarrassing scoreline that I got against Borna. Enjoy.
It's a lifetime opportunity. Should we just take a break? What is this? What is it? You're afraid, yeah? At least now it's good to know.
Is she a young junior?
No.
How old is she? Is it my go or your go?
You move your bishop.
I mean, it's I just been running on. Thank you for coming. Hope it didn't mess up yours. I think it was good. Good. I played yesterday. He's not necessarily a worse player. He just plays so it's just like a 4-hour just constant. And no, I I gotta run. Yeah. Again, thank you guys so much for coming. Congrats, Vegas. I'm glad to give you guys.
Congrats. I got your next challenge here.
Do you remember the Brozovic and Blind game?
Goodness, no.
No, basically like they all just punch.
Ah, yeah.
Like one of the G6
I don't want to play this game. It's dark. That is some hustle. It's good, man, good. It's getting bold. That's what she did to me.
But I was like, okay. Stimulate the brain. Like, I am.
What's happening? Oh my gosh! Oh my gosh!
All right, so let's go over this game. This is the first of several games that I played against Borna in the lounge behind the scenes at the Speeches Championship. It was after everything. And I'll tell you after I analyze this game, the overall score that we played at. Now, my philosophy into going into a game against the young player is I don't actually know how strong they are. And I do know that Bodena is actually the UK Women's Blitz champion at the age of 10, which if you think about it, she's already the best woman in the country in Blitz. And she's probably like a top 15, 20 Blitz player overall. And that's counting all the experienced men and you know, the international masters and the grandmasters of the country together. And so I opened up with my favorite opening. I got to go for my Trompowsky. it transposed. She played d5 on the first move, and I go for the typical structure that I like with the bishop on d3 and so on. Now, she plays a very annoying move. She plays bishop to f5, and now I don't get to play the move that I like to play in this position, which is bishop to d3. And when I get my bishop to d3, I then generally get some sort of attack going against her. By the way, on this travel setup, I've been holding this microphone instead of clipping it on, just experimenting with different audio and so on. Now, knight f3, e6. Here already there are several ideas for white. I go for the most aggressive, which is knight e5. It's not necessarily the best move, but she doesn't respond in the best way, and already I get, a very, very strong position. g4, she goes here, and now the bishop gets battered around, and you go h4. And black is already in trouble. Black is definitely under a lot of pressure, which is the fact that, and it has to do with the fact that the move h5 is coming, and when this bishop gets stuck here with, the knight targeting it, it's impossible for you to actually move this pawn. And I'm thinking like, okay, look, this is a young player. I don't want to win in 15 moves, but if she gives me a winning position from the opening, I'm going to go for it, right? Chess is the only place where you play a kid and you don't actually know what you're getting yourself into all the time. And, she goes h6 and I make this trade, and now I just have a substantially better position because I'm going to go bishop d3. This is going to be weak forever, and I'll have a long-term advantage. She goes bishop d6. And I play bishop d3 because now if she takes my bishop, I would throw in a check. She plays this move, and I play queen e2. And my logic with queen e2 is that if Bodena captures, I will always be able to defend with putting my queen on that square after my pawn goes there, and I'm going to go long side. So she goes queen c7. She forces me to take, but I'm still feeling that like this is a loss of time, as black lost the move. In this position, I could have played bishop takes bishop, but now I'm going to play bishop takes bishop, except I got this. So now after takes and long castles, I'm just thinking, all right, everything is super chill. I've played 15 moves against the young prodigy. I have an absolutely dominant position. I've castled. It's clear I'm going to start an attack, g5 and so on. And I don't actually know how she's going to survive this position, right? Knight bd7 is played, and now, okay, I have several ways to play here. Obviously, g5 is an option, f4 is an option to sort of shut down e5. Even I thought e4 looked pretty good. I didn't really know which of these was going to be best, and I went for g5. Instead of going for g5 straight away, I could consider the move f4, play a little bit slower so that black doesn't strike back with e5, and also e4 looks good. Just wasn't a huge fan of, the queen maybe getting to the f4 square. I thought this was the most direct approach, considering the fact that, like, I castled, I developed all my pieces. It's now time to go for the attack. But as is my playing style, right, I was a little bit impatient, and instead I could have bided my time a little bit. Anyway, she goes knight h5, so she reacts right away very accurately, and she's setting up the move knight to g3, and I play the move rook to g1. The idea is that now, of course, this is no longer a fork, but more than anything else, I would go queen h2 or queen g2 or queen f2, and there would be problems. She plays now e5. Now, what's funny is that I'm actually like, I have a very nice way to cut through the position here with white. Instead of playing the move that I played, I actually rolled the dice a little bit on this move. I could have just taken. It doesn't look like taking is logical because you sort of activate the knight, and then she's going to trade her knight, not like that for my bishop. But that is the best move. I did something that I thought was a bit more emphatic. And also, it's blitz. I want to have fun. She is playing very fast, by the way. To her credit, she is putting a lot of pressure on me to make practical decisions very, very quickly. And that's annoying when you play blitz because you will run out of time. And then you're not going to, and that's actually what ended up happening later in the game, as you saw. So f4 is the move played. And now, of course, the critical move to refute all of this is the move e4. Of course, I'm getting my bishop trapped. But my idea here was something like, let's say, bishop takes e4, d takes e4, and maybe like a knight takes e4, and if she plays, queen d5, I would go back, and then I would just go pawn, rook, queen check. Like, I just saw the fact that, like, my pawns are going to get rolling, and as you see, the computer actually agrees with it. I didn't actually know which one I was going to go for. I even thought about doing it like this, and then playing maybe bishop c4 check, but her king is in the middle, and she didn't really want this. I also thought about taking with, the bishop first. There's also moves like f5. So, for example, you can play bishop takes and this amazing move f5, and then I'm hitting the pawn and I'm hitting her knight, and it's just not a very pleasant position. But she has to go for it. This move is just not a good move. And here I actually autopiloted because, again, we're just playing blitz for fun. Like, G takes h6 is just like a winning move because I open up my rook and I have sacrificing ideas like takes, rook h6. I can already even sack my rook maybe. And in this position, I can play like a queen takes h5. And it just looks like white is totally dominating here. But again, like you don't even think of these things. I'm like, oh, she just took my pawn. I'm taking. It's still fine, or so I thought. But it's actually not. Black is actually doing all right here. But it's not easy to, to figure all that out, because even if she wins the pawn on f4, which I think she did, like, you look like you're under a massive, massive attack here with my two rooks and my queen and the opposite side castling, and, her king has to go to g8, but totally wrong move by me. Absolutely wrong move. Instead, I need to focus on f5 and gh6, and I totally inaccurate. And she defends very nicely here. She takes here on f4, and when I go here, she plays king g8 and leaves me in this position. But somehow, the guy that is famous for yelling sacrifice the rook finds himself in positions all the time where he gets to sacrifice the rook. And that's exactly what I did. I just bulldozed rook takes f4, and all I calculated here was very simple. If queen takes f4, which has to be played, and I play queen e6 check, it looks like mate, but she brings her queen back with queen to f7. So that doesn't quite work. So then I calculated rook f1, and rook f1 looks good, but she goes back to d6 and defends both this and this. And then I settled on, hey, what if I sacrifice my rook and I don't take I don't do anything crazy, I just take this pawn. And my threat is the fact that her king cannot escape now, and so queen e6 is game over. Now at this point, Magnus Carlsen comes over. If you don't know who Magnus Carlsen is, he's a Norwegian guy with a mustache. He looks Australian, looks like he fights kangaroos in the street. I play bishop g6, and I completely relax, because I'm like, Bodin is absolutely, she's got absolutely nothing here. I mean, I know the computer says zeros, but it looked like an incredibly difficult position to defend. And I completely relax. Now, she plays knight f8. Knight f8 is a good move because it attacks my bishop and it stops this, and it gets the queen also away from any forking opportunities. And I play the move that I had planned, which is rook f1. We're actually playing a relatively high-level game here. If it wouldn't be high-level, it would be my fault. And now the best move for black is to take my bishop and take back here, give up the queen, and go for the position after knight g6, rook f4, knight f4, but I just thought there is absolutely no chance here that you can survive, but there is, because you can take, and I can't take because you play rook h1 check. So that would have been a nice defensive idea. Black would have survived there probably, but she went here, and now I'm thinking there has to be a mate. I absolutely refuse to believe that there is not a checkmate here. And as you see, my evaluation now is +9. And this is typical GothamChess school of chess. Getting a totally winning position, and then screwing it up in a totally horrendous fashion. Of course, I'm looking at bishop to f7 check, but after bishop f7 and king h7, I didn't see a clear follow-up, and there is none. You actually have to go c3, deflect the queen away, and play something like a queen d3. In fact, the analysis is breaking. The evaluation is so high. But I went for that. I mean, I didn't play bishop f7 first, I played c3, and I noticed that now my queen is going to be able to get to d3, and I almost certainly have a checkmate, right? So she takes. Now I'm thinking, where's my mate? Like, where is my checkmate? Because I'm looking at this position. By the way, at this point, Magnus says there's a famous game, and it is a famous game. It's Maxime Vachier-Lagrave versus Alexander Morozevich. You can find it on like chess games or probably on YouTube. There is a game where in that game, black parked the rook on h7 to avoid getting mated and played like king h8, but the rook never left. Like, it just never left, and then black went on to lose the game. I think that's what happened. Sometimes you misremember. Anyway, plus it's YouTube. It's, you can say things and nobody's going to fact check them, right? That's the age we live in. But you should fact check that. Anyway, she goes here, and I'm thinking, where's the mate? Like, all right, I'm smart enough to know. Now I looked at this amazing move, rook f8. I really wanted to sack two rooks. Problem is there's no mate here. It looks like there's a mate, but she can just go queen f4 and there's no mate. And if I play queen f3 and she goes king e7 and I play queen f7 and she goes king d6, there is no more checks. So I looked at all this, none of this worked. So I go queen d4, queen h4, bishop f7, and I'm like, where is the mate? Now the mate, Now, I thought my line was totally winning. The mate is just to push with the pawn. It looks like a move you don't want to play, because in this position, you only really look at something like queen d3, but I take the knight. This is what I missed, is that I just take. And then I go queen d3, and her king can no longer run backwards. And since it cannot run backwards, it can only run forward. And then, of course, I'm going to win with queen f5. And if this, I have queen f5 and rook h1 and so on. I actually did have a mate. I did everything in the game. I literally got a BMW-style evaluation, an M9, an M7, whatever it is. But after bishop f7, king h7, I went queen d3, and I let her block. Because what I had calculated after this was that I can sack my bishop and then put my rook on f7. As you see there from the evaluation bar, it is still completely winning, but I didn't see where my checkmate was. I went queen f3 thinking, oh, it's just over. Queen f3, queen f7, it doesn't matter. She went rook h7. Now it is plus 6.5. Still, I took the rook, still thinking that I was winning. She went king takes h7, and I'm like, where's the mate? Queen f7, king h8. How do I win this position? If I play the move g6, I threaten g7, and that looks good enough. So I went g6. Now, apparently, this is still not good enough. At this point, I have to completely stop the idea of mate, and I have to take this pawn, because I threaten the rook, and then I take the knight, and then I go back to h7. Otherwise, her next move is queen takes g6. But I didn't see that. I was only looking at this side of the board. And I went here. Oh, no, I apologize. I did play this. But in this position, I missed rook takes f8. I missed rook takes f8. I did play queen takes b7. But I missed rook takes f8. Rook f8. I have mate and 2 on the board. It's the thing. It's my thing. I would have won this game, sacrificed 2 rooks. The YouTube title would have been totally different. But instead I went here. And suddenly I'm like, yo, and now we're in a scramble. Now I got like 3 seconds to make every move. I go queen c7. She takes with the knight. Suddenly she defends herself once again. Her knight's in the game. Now I'm scared she's going to check me. She begins checking me. My king has to run out into the open. I'm like, there's no way I'm going to lose this position against this little girl, right? Ain't no way. She gives me a check. I'm like, am I getting mated? Queen a6. She misses like... She goes back to g6 instead of capitalizing with knight d3 check. I check, and I'm like, all right, I don't know what to do. Let's maybe offer a trade. And I blunder a fork. She spots the fork with seconds on her clock, and she wins the game. And I think I made a move, and she took my queen. And I was like, no. We played 45 moves of chess. And on the 45th move is the first time I even considered I could lose this game. You know, because in a chess game, you know, you play it, it can be a little bit stressful. You know, you're like, oh, am I going to lose? Am I blundering? Like this and that. 44 moves of this game, I was completely convinced I was going to win. She took my soul in one move. There's going to be a few other videos that we post. We played 4 games. I got 1 draw. I lost this game. The second game we played, I built up another advantage. She defended, out-scrambled me. She won that game. I'm like, okay, I'm 30 years old. Let's lock in. Game 3, she just destroys me. Game 4, I have a small advantage. I try to press it. She just holds the endgame. Then they kicked us out of the Diamond Lounge because they thought I was going to probably lose my mind. No, everybody had to leave the arena. It was already late and everything. 5 out of 4 for old Gotham. We should set up a match battle of generations, me against Bodena. I mean, that's really just seems like what we should do. So I could get embarrassed, but I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you enjoyed Magnus participating. And that's all I have for you today. Do let me know if you enjoy these videos and get out of here. And the next time I'll see you, it will be back in the home setup.